Hey there, everyone. This week I'm running through a quick recap of the most recent and upcoming changes to the Google Ad Grant, what they are, and what this means for users. So let's jump straight into it. So, the most impending change is the discontinuation of expanded text ads, which comes into effect on the 30th of June this year, 2022. So if you've been using Google Ads for a while, you'll know that there are currently three main types of search ads you can create: a responsive search ad, an expanded text ad, and a dynamic search ad. Well, with Google's latest changes, they are removing expanded text ads, which will be fully replaced by responsive search ads. So why are they changing this? Well, responsive search ads allow users to input many different headlines and descriptions within one ad, whereas the expanded text ad only allowed for 3 headlines and 2 descriptions. Google then uses its machine learning to identify the best combination of headlines and descriptions to use. And what this actually means is it's less work on behalf of the users, because it enables users to create less ads and subsequently save time on testing and updating ad copy. And what does this specifically mean for ad grant users? Well, it seems that the rule about having more than one ad per ad group may become redundant, although Google have not yet confirmed this, and the policy guidelines still state you must have a minimum of 2 ads in each ad group. So for now, just make sure you've still got 2 ads in each ad group. One of the features of responsive search ads means you can pin headlines in and descriptions into position, i.e. your headline 1, you can pin that so you make sure that that always shows as headline 1. And what this means is you can very simply create a copy of your first ad but pin the headlines on the second ad, which means you can use your responsive search ad in the same way that you would use an expanded text ad. And this is particularly useful if you want more control over the messaging in your ads. If you're not using responsive search ads already, then now is the time to switch over. The responsive search ads get better results on average than expanded text ads, and Google also favors them because of the machine learning aspect that they provide. So moving on, in the next thing we're going to talk about are image extensions. So in July 2020, Google quietly announced its plan to roll out a new ad extension format, the image extension. Even though they began rolling this out back in 2020, your account may not have this functionality yet. If it doesn't, keep checking back, as it will be available to all ad accounts very soon. And what image extensions do is they allow you to add compatible visuals to enhance existing responsive search ads and expanded text ads. But note that this feature does not feature as part of display advertising, but rather adds an additional visual element to your search-based ads. Ad extensions are proven to increase your click-through rate. In fact, Google found that for each new extension added, they saw an average of 10 to 15% click-through rate increase, and image extensions are no different. In fact, some users have reported click-through rates of up to 50% on image extensions, and we ourselves have seen click-through rates in excess of 30%. Image extensions primarily feature on mobile devices. And when you're creating your image extension, you'll have the option to add both vertical and square images to your extensions. They've got a really cool setup wizard as well, which has this great feature which allows you to take both dimensions from a single image through an inbuilt cropping feature. And another cool tool which actually scans your websites for images and then pulls those options in for you to select. One of the more exciting things that's become available for the Google Ad Grant is the introduction of remarketing capabilities. Now, as with most new features for grant users, Google doesn't seem to heavily promote these, so you may not be aware, but they recently allowed Google Grant accounts to use a remarketing feature, enabling you to remarket search ads to people that have already visited your site. So obviously Google ad accounts can only use text-based search ads. So how do you actually remarket within the confines of the policy? Well, hands up, admittedly, we are still in the process of testing this feature. But what we found so far is that it's a useful tool for putting your organisation at the forefront of visitors' minds after they have visited your site. So this can be done by creating a campaign which only targets your website traffic. And we suggest setting this campaign up using broad keyword targeting. So for example, if you have an ad in place to get people to sign up for a fundraising event, then you could retarget this traffic using broader search terms like fun things to do with the kids this weekend, and your ad would populate as a reminder for people who have already visited your site. If you're already using this feature and seeing some success, I'd love to hear from you. Add a comment at the bottom of the page and let us know how you're getting on with it. The next change that I'm going to speak about is conversion tracking changes. So it seems that there is a new beta version of the conversion tracking setup, which is only available in some accounts. Primarily, it's encouraging you to set up conversions entirely in the dashboard instead of using Google Tag Manager. What we noticed is that the conversion actions it offers are limited. The setup process feels a little clunky and not entirely efficient either. We hope that the feedback provided by the users in this beta version will help to improve the feature, but for now, we recommend continuing to set up conversion tracking in Google Tag Manager. However, this could potentially be game-changing for users who really struggle with setting up conversions. You may or may not have access to this new setup. If you have access, you'll be prompted to provide your website URL so that Google can scan it and search for your global site tag. Now, I've got some screenshots of what this all looks like and how to use it in the blog, in the full blog. So just check the link, click the link below, and that will take you through to show you the full details and screenshots of what this looks like. One thing to keep in mind with this new conversion tracking setup is that the only trigger that can be used in the setup process is a page view. So if you're using the URL or part of the URL as your trigger. So if you want to track things like a video play or a button click or any action that does not trigger on a specific page load, you'll need to still set your tags up manually, aka the old way. If you do use the new way, just be sure to go into the settings and adjust your conversion values and count-in settings, as they have a default setting, so you're going to want to make sure that you review those and amend them as necessary. Alternatively, you can just skip the new setup and head straight down to create your conversion action manually using code, and that will just load up the old process so that you'll be able to get your tracking information and input that into Google Tag Manager. So the next thing on the list of changes, there's quite a few this month, in this segment, is the automatic pausing of low scoring and low traffic keywords. So Google has recently begun to automatically pause any keywords with a quality score of less than 3, which helps to keep your account within the compliance parameters of the grant. However, you should be regularly checking for any paused keywords to ensure you're not missing something valuable. If you're scoring low on keywords that truly represent your work and your organization, then you need to audit your ad copy, your ad group setup, and review the landing page content to understand where you can make improvements and get back in the running for those keywords. Similarly, Google has also started pausing keywords that have little or no search volume. And this has proven particularly frustrating for smaller nonprofits who are bidding on their organisation names. Where before these ads might have only provided a few clicks, the click-through rate percentage was considerably higher for brand terms and would subsequently contribute in lifting the overall click-through percentage of the account. Now those nonprofits are unable to run ads for their organisation names due to low search volume. Google said if the text that Google provides when your AdWords are paused are if the number of search queries for these keywords increases even a small amount, they'll be reactivated and they will start triggering your ads to show again. The system checks and updates that status regularly. So they also state there is no negative impact in keeping these keywords in your account. However, you may want to consider removing them if you're hitting the budget limit each month. But this is more incentive just to continue to drive more organic traffic to your site and just not relying entirely on the Google Ad Grant to bring new visitors to your website. And the final thing on the list today is the discontinuation of the grant account review dashboard. God, that's a mouthful. So back in 2020, Google released the grant account review dashboard. Gosh, that really is a mouthful. To help grant users check their account for policy violations in a quick and simple format. However, after more than a year, several issues arose with the quality of the data accuracy. So despite several attempts to fix these issues, they kept arising, and subsequently, due to resource constraints, they decided to discontinue the feature. So all we'll say about this is account suspensions seem much rarer at the moment, but regular check-ins on your account are necessary for any account to run effectively and to run well. We've put together a handy checklist PDF that can be used to make sure your account is within the guidelines. If you want to get a copy of that, you can download it in the link below. So that's a full roundup of the most recent and upcoming changes to the Google Ad Grant. I hope you found this interesting. If you've got any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comments below, and feel free to subscribe so that you'll get notified when we do our next segment. Thanks and bye for now.